Do you see AI as a threat to storytelling?
That's a great question. I mean, obviously, it's disrupting the market, and there are things about it that are a little bit scary, but I think that it's not going anywhere. And so we kind of have to figure out how to work with it and embrace it and see the opportunities behind it. And I think it is just about helping people work better and smarter and save us a little bit of time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Right Media Group Chronicles, where we talk to founders and creative leaders building brands with substance and story. Today's guest is Amelia Forczak, founder and CEO of Pithy Wordsmithery, Chicago based agency helping executives and entrepreneurs turn their ideas into best selling books and authority platforms. We'll dive into what makes a book truly move a business forward, how publishing a book has evolved in the AI era, and what goes into writing for leaders at the top of their game. Amelia, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
So, for those who don't know Pithy Wordsmithery, can you share what you do?
Yeah, we help people write, market, and publish their books. So I always wanted to write books ever since I was little. Went to school for journalism. I founded the company in 2011, and we've published a ton of books. Personally, I've ghostwritten I think 17 or 18 books, all within the thought leadership realm for speakers, executives, entrepreneurs. But we also do memoirs. We've done a couple kids books. So, just working with aspiring authors to help them get across the finish line. It's been a lot of fun.
So, what would you say is the most challenging part of running a creative agency in publishing?
Well, so many challenges. Where do I even pick one? I think a lot of people start their business because they're good at something. And
Mhm.
so for me, I was good at writing. And turning that into a business, you have to learn all the other things that are not writing. So managing a team, accounting, operations, all of that, and then still have time for the craft for the thing that you're good at. So that's been a learning experience over the past decade, and it's always kept things interesting.
So, which type of metrics or outcomes matter most for you? So, is it client success stories? Is it repeat business? Or what sort of outcome are you usually looking forward to?
Yeah. So our number one priority is producing a quality product.
Mhm.
We want to create books that really align with clients' goals. And sometimes that's the tricky part because people will come to me and they'll say, I have an idea for a book. People tell me I should write a book. I don't know what that looks like. And we work with them from the beginning to figure out what book would make the most sense for their goals and their personal brand. So these are people who already have a pretty big following. They're known for maybe a few different things and just figuring out what would really make the biggest difference in their life and then crafting the book around that. So getting the concept right and then executing it so that the quality is amazing and that all the way through the production process through the end all the copy editing is good. The cover looks great. The proofreading's done. As you can imagine, with 300 and some pages, sometimes there are a lot of opportunities for things to go sideways. And so just controlling all of that to make sure that the outcome is something that really is like this lifetime milestone and it lives up to people's expectations and even exceeds it.
Is there any sort of trends in creating a best-selling book? You mentioned you've done 17, 18 best-selling books so far. So is there some kind of a common trend that makes it a bestseller?
So the bestseller thing's tricky because a lot of it depends on marketing and the author's platform. It would be nice if you could just write a quality book and people would magically find it, but so much of it really does depend on marketing. Um, Trends, I think a trend is that more people are self-publishing than in years past. It used to be that you had to go through a traditional publishing house, which would mean that you'd have to get the literary agent and do the book proposal and pitch it to publishing houses and have someone accept the idea and accept you as an author and get permission basically from someone else to publish your idea. You don't have to do that anymore. And so the
Okay.
self-publishing process has made it a lot more accessible for authors and much faster and just easier in general. And so there's a huge rise in self-publishing. And since authorship is more accessible to more people, you're just seeing that kind of become the new standard for thought leadership. If somebody is a leader in their field, it's kind of expected that they have a book. So that's what I've been seeing.
What is your market like? Because in any market, there are people who are aware that they always need a book to be a thought leader, like you just explained. But you also still have that market that is not aware of the capacity. So how would you find your current market is? In where are they on the spectrum?
Yeah, most of our clients come in through referrals. And we also do a lot on LinkedIn. And so we're getting organic traffic that way. People usually start thinking about a book as they're thinking about their career trajectory and where they want to go. And they're comparing themselves to other people in their industry. And they're seeing that maybe they have books. I think that's especially true for speakers. Like if people want to do professional speaking, having a physical copy of a book to bring to the events is a real selling point, especially for people who are organizing the conferences. And so leaders who want to do a bit more speaking are usually thinking, oh gosh, I need to get a book and that will help me book more speaking engagements and increase the rate. So that's one way that people are thinking about it. And I think just like as time goes on, we're all turning into like more of our own media outlets where we're producing more of our own content, whether it's on social or an e-blast like Substack or, blog posts, LinkedIn articles. And so like a book is kind of like just an extension of that in a longer format.
So, would you say you have to do some form of education as well with your potential clients or that market that is not yet aware of how great it is to actually write a book? And then, like you say, you become a thought leader in your industry. So, there's a lot of benefits to writing your own book. And
Mhm.
obviously, everyone's got a story, right? And you help
Mhm.
guide them through the best ways of explaining that into a book.
Yeah. So many people wanna have a book, so I think, like, really that the education for us is in teaching people how to do it and showing them that they actually can accomplish it. It's such a big, intimidating thing for a lot of people. Anybody who's not a professional writer, or maybe they have ADD, or they're running a business, they don't have time. There's so many things where people wanna write a book and they're like, "I feel like I could never do that." And so we work with clients to make the process extremely easy for them and give them accountability and make it enjoyable. And I think that's really the way that gets the thing across the finish line for a lot of people, because if you're left to your own devices and you don't know how to write a book, you've never done it before, no one's holding you accountable, it just never gets done. And so it's something that's on like the bucket list for decades, right? And so just teaching people that they can do it, and it's like we can actually get this done in less than a year. So,
Wow, incredible. Some agency owners are kind of hesitant to ask for their current clients for referrals. Is there sort of steps you take that's the best approach to asking for referrals?
yeah, that's a good question, especially with the industry that I'm in, so ghostwriting, which can be sort of like mysterious, or like people don't always talk about how they have a ghostwriter, but from the beginning I have always thought that if I was able to market the work that we're doing and post it to social, that would help a lot. And so we also do marketing for authors, and we have a pretty big following on social right now. And so it's a benefit to our clients when we post about them and we tag them on social, because that gets them in front of more people. And it's a benefit to us also because it shows the work that we're doing and the level of clients that we have, and it gets us in front of their audience. So really that's been the thing that has worked for getting referrals. Not and I guess like it's not always technically like one person introducing me to their network, but maybe somebody sees it and they're like, "Oh, I saw you wrote a book. I want to write a book too. I saw you work with somebody." And they're like, "Yeah, they're great." And then it goes from there.
You tag somebody that you wrote a book with, and then their network can see it. So it's kind of like just getting out there and getting tagged.
Yeah, it's being able to promote your client's work. And so we have that as a term in the contract that says we're able to use the work as experience in our portfolio and in like other communications. And that's been a huge help. So I would definitely recommend that to any agencies that are out there.
Let's be honest, AI is changing everything and it's starting to change a bit of content out there as well. How
Mhm.
do you see it impacting ghostwriting and publishing specifically?
Yeah. So everybody has a love-hate relationship with AI, right? It
Yeah.
can be very helpful. It can also spit out like total crap that hallucinates facts. And so you really need to be careful how you use it. But if you use it right, it can be a really great tool for just making the process easier. And when it comes to writing a book, that's very helpful. We really cheer authors on for writing their own books. Like we ghostwrite for people, but we also do book coach and we help authors with editing after they've written their own books. So we really try to meet people where they are. So if an author can use AI well, I think it's huge. Like even if they're not a big writer, sometimes they can do talk to text where they're just talking the book. They can take that recording out, put it into AI, have AI clean it up, and that book can come together like so much faster than it would have without those tools. And so I like to help authors understand how they can use AI to make the process easier. So then we actually have a manuscript that we can work with and get a professional editor on it to bring it up to the next level.
You just mentioned something amazing. I have spoken to somebody who's written 4 best-selling books as well, and she said the exact same thing you did in regards to utilizing AI, because she doesn't have time. What she does, she speaks to an AI when she's on the go, and then she just puts all her thoughts into this AI and just cleans it up for her. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's brilliant advice right there. Any tools your team uses right now for research, editing, or marketing? Is there anything that's pretty good out there that you would recommend?
The best AI that I found is Claude. That's the
Mm.
one that we use the most often. We also have Perplexity that we use if we want more research, but I think Claude is the best one for quality of writing. Other tools, we use Asana for project management, and we could not live without that. I know that all agencies have their own project management tools like that. We love that one.
So, in regarding to automating one major part of your business, is there anything that's really time consuming right now that you're like, I wish I could automate that process one day?
I like dream big. AI is going to help us automate everything, right?
Yeah, well, human touch is still important, isn't it? But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if there's any one thing specifically that we would automate. There's so many different aspects that need that human touch that are really time consuming. Even like in the self-publishing process, you've got like the copy editing, the proofreading, the interior layout, the cover design. There's so many elements. So, yeah, I don't know, that's a hard one. Everything.
going on that other end of the spectrum, do you see AI as a threat to storytelling?
That's a great question. I mean, obviously, it's disrupting the market, and there are things about it that are a little bit scary, but I think that it's not going anywhere. And so we kind of have to figure out how to work with it and embrace it and see the opportunities behind it. And I think it is just about helping people work better and smarter and save us a little bit of time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, but there is that fact where if people overutilize it, like create all their content for them on social media, I believe that to be inauthentic, I feel like you still need to proofread and make sure you still got your own persona in that post. So that's my personal perspective.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same for anything. Like, it can help you create some content, but it's never going to know what's in your head. It's never
Right.
going to be able to get the stories out of your head and make the analogies or the connections. And so as long as people are doing that, I think you can use AI for like the more busy work kind of thing of like making the sentences feel a little bit more polished, but the overall strategy and the ideas and what makes the content really unique is going to have to come from the individual.
Yeah. Amelia, let's get into a little bit of your story. So, what really got you into writing? Well, you clearly have a passion for it.
Yeah, always wanted to be a writer. I just didn't really know like how to go about it. So I went to school for journalism, but then when I was graduating, all the newspapers were consolidating and it just didn't seem like a very good field to go into. So I went into marketing because so much of marketing is content, and that worked for a few years. That felt like a good fit. I was creating a lot of content for websites and emails and social media, white papers, all kinds of things. And then my CEO at the time, I was working for an HR consulting firm managing the marketing department. My CEO got approached to write a book. And in our marketing department, we were like, yes, he should totally do that. It would be huge. It would set him up apart in the industry. It'd make it easier for us to book him for speaking engagements, which is something we were trying to do. So we were like, you should definitely do this. And he was like, yeah, but I don't have time to do it. Like, who's actually gonna like help me write it? And so I volunteered to write it. And out that one ended up becoming a New York Times bestseller. And so I was like, this is what I want to do. I was 27 at the time. And so I started my own business from there. And uh it just was always a really good fit because I realized that it was something that most people thought they couldn't do it. And so there was a value that I was providing. And after I did it the first time, it seemed just manageable for me. And I kind of just went from there with it.
And it just had a snowball effect from what I gather.
Yeah, yeah, and my first book was in the leadership realm, so employee engagement, and I ended up getting a lot of referrals after that for books that were within that same sort of realm, so organizational development, DEI, other HR books, and so I've done a lot in the leadership realm, and over the years, like, doing other books that are completely outside of that has been interesting too.
So, do you feel more passionate to help thought leaderships or a bit of everything?
I love the thought leadership books. Yeah, I love when I meet somebody and they have a whole bunch of different things going on. They've worked at a company for a certain number of years. They hope to do these other things in the future. They're also passionate about this thing and talking with them to be like, what should the book be? Like, what does success look like for this project? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? How do you want to be known? Like, how does this book tie to different revenue streams? Who's the target market? I love all the strategy stuff and just starting from the beginning to work with them to figure out what really makes the most sense so that the book supports their personal brand.
You work with so many great people, and you've created best-selling books yourself. Is there any sort of value you've taken away that still sticks with you today?
Through the projects that I've worked on,
Yeah.
I've learned a ton. That's like part of my job that I love the most is that I get to chat with these people who are like geniuses. They're like at the top of their field, so smart. And like do a deep dive with them for, I don't know, 6 months or something, get into their world, learn everything. And then it's like I'm like downloading all of their knowledge and I just know a ton about so many different random things.
Yeah, the reason I can relate to this because I'm doing the exact same thing. Like I'm getting on a podcast with you. I'm absorbing so much information, a different perspective, your personal story. It's amazing. And I guess working with these people as well, you just absorb some of that, right?
Yeah, totally. It's super fun. People are so interesting, you know? So I love hearing their stories. And a lot of the people we're working with are very successful entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur, and so I feel like I can learn a lot from them or, you know, executives. And a lot of our clients are Ivy League business school professors or graduates and like so I feel like I'm getting like a free mini MBA almost. It's been really cool.
So what I gather is you got into writing, but then because it was such a saturated field, you got into marketing, but then it kind of snowballed into writing again. So would you say now your agency's a bit of writing and a bit of marketing and it's kind of submerged
Yeah,
together?
yeah, definitely. It essentially is a marketing agency. We just specialize in the medium of books.
So what is your goal for the next year for Pithy Wordsmithery then?
Yeah, I've been continuing to scale the business. I think for a long time I was assigning everything to myself, and that was sort of like obviously preventing me from scaling because I was always working on books. And I kind of joke because I'm like, it's almost like the women who have like 10 kids and they're like, I've been pregnant for like years and years. I feel like I'm like, I've been writing a book for like 15 years. And so I kind of want to build in some breaks for me and assign more projects to other people and then focus on building the business a little bit more. So, working on the business instead of working just in the business.
Yeah.
And yeah, I recently started my own podcast called Sticky Stories That Stick.
Yes. Where
So,
can people look at that podcast, hear some stories? Where would you
yeah,
guide
it's
them?
on all the major podcast platforms. I just started it. And so I have maybe, I think, 4 episodes live so far, but I've been interviewing these amazing experts and I love it so much. Like I love the podcast. So I want to keep doing that and just keep chatting with interesting people.
Oh, sounds great. now you're at the point that you want to work on the business, not in the business. And I have to say, it relates to so many agency owners out there because in the beginning, it's exciting to work for your own company. You know, you have that freedom, manage your own time. And I guess now you're at the point you want to make sure the business is growing, take a step back and oversee as a founder owner.
Yeah, and it's a tricky balance, right? Because you want to make sure you have great people who can handle things and make sure you have SOPs for everything and everybody's trained, and so it runs smoothly when you take a little bit of a step back. But yeah, it's been an interesting process over the years. I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'm going to challenge you a little bit, Amelia. Agency owners out there struggle with delegating, especially when they want to take a step back and they want to oversee the business. But that delegation is still a struggle. Do you have any advice for agency owners out there?
Yeah. I think things started running more smoothly for us when we really dug into creating those SOPs, so the standard operating procedures, where every single little step on how to do something is spelled out. And we also would create Loom videos that people could watch because some people they like to read and some people observe better by watching or learn better by
Yeah,
seeing it.
visually, I've heard that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So we created really good instructions for everything. And then if anything's not done right, we can go back and figure out where in the process that happened, right? Because we have clear instructions. And so, like, maybe they weren't clear enough. Maybe we go back and add that. And then it really helps you figure out, like, is the person that you hired capable of doing the work? Like, if something went wrong, was it a mistake or is it something where you need someone different or the person needs to be trained more? But once everything is written down, it helps so much because if you do need to hire somebody else, it's not like you're investing a ton of time into one-on-one going through through everything again because you already have it all documented. So you're really just like creating these systems that make everything much easier. It's like if you ever think you're going to have to explain something again, record it.
Wow, I love that advice because, yes, unfortunately, agency owners go through that process again and again, hiring somebody, teaching them everything, wasting their own time. And then, unfortunately, it doesn't go well. The person leaves, doesn't show up for work, doesn't deliver. So you have to look for somebody else. And again, go through that endless loop.
That's something where I think AI has really helped because now we have all these AIs that automatically join our meetings and record it and provide the transcripts. When I was training people like 5 years ago or more, we weren't doing that. Like that wasn't the norm was like have your like whatever chat bot like recorder in all the meetings. So like I used to just explain things to people and not record it. And looking back at that, I'm like, oh my God, what a waste of time that was. If I had just put it in and gotten a transcript, then the next person could read it, or I'd have a written, I wouldn't have to rely on the person I'm talking to take really good notes because the notes would already be there.
Somebody said, be slow to hire and quick to fire. So take your time hiring somebody, actually vetting through them, making sure you're not wasting your time there. And if they make mistakes or deadlines are not met, don't make excuses for them.
Yeah. Yes. It's easier said than done because you can get, attached to people or you just like
For
have
sure.
yeah, you want to be nice but sometimes it is just like it's not the right fit on either end and it's okay.
Yeah, end of the day, you're still growing a business, isn't it?
Mhm.
So if you had a magic wand to fix one thing in a business that's slowing you down from that growth you're trying to achieve, what would it be?
I would say like a busy work. I don't know if you can classify it that way, but all the little things where I can ultimately assign it to someone else, but I sort of have to figure out all the steps first. Like with the podcast, there are so many tiny things that need to happen to get the video posted and to get the audio up there and to promote it on social. And so I'm creating the SOPs and all the videos. If somebody could just do that or get it automated, that would make it much easier.
Amelia, thank you so much for joining this podcast and sharing your insights. If people wanted to connect with you, we know where to find your podcast. What about if they wanted to connect with you in regarding to your services, if they were interested in any consulting or helping them write a book?
Yeah, so the name of the company is Pithy Wordsmithery, and the website's pithywordsmithery.com. And you can find us on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok and Pinterest. You can
Everywhere.
also yeah, you can Google me. I'm Amelia Forczak. It's Forczak, and we can get in touch that way. But yeah, if anybody's interested in writing a book or they think their client would be great for writing a book, because as a marketing agency, like the more great things you have to push out there, the easier your job is. I'm happy to chat.
Awesome. And my last question to you, Amelia, is if anyone's starting a business today, one piece of advice you would give them that you wish you had when you started your agency?
Yeah. I would tell them to systematize from the very beginning. And so, as you're doing one thing, you document it and you figure out how to give like a trail of breadcrumbs for someone else to do it next time. And so, you're always thinking about like, how do I save time? How do I make this easier? How do I do this at scale? That is the thing that will help a ton.
Okay. Amelia, thank you so much